Hello class, in this short video I will be solving for you the last 5 problems for the exam so that you know how they were supposed to be solved, even though most of you got them correctly. Uh, so let's do it. So this one, problem 28, you have a swimming pool that is rectangular. So let me draw that. There it goes. And they tell you that the length, which is it's either this or this. It doesn't make any difference, guys. Which one you call the length and which one you call the width. It's completely irrelevant. So they tell you that the length is 2 yards more than 2 times the width. So in other words, they're telling you that the length is equal to 2 times the width plus 2. If you read this first sentence, that's how you can translate it into mathematical notation. So you know this. And you know that the perimeter is 144 yards. If I continue here, the perimeter equals 144 yards. That's all the information they give me. Then they ask me to find the dimensions of the pool. In other words, find the length and the width. Okay, so basically what is the perimeter? Is the sum of this side plus this, which is also the length, plus this, which is the width. So all I need to do is this. 2 times the length plus 2 times the width should be equal to 144. Okay, and then I make use of this and this equation. If I know that the length is equal to this, I can put this in here because that's equal to the length. So that's what I'm about to do. Like so. And then you just solve this equation. That's it. This is the width. The units are yards. And now that you know the width, all you need to do is introduce this value in here so that you can get the length. And that's it. That's it, guys. If you wrote this, at least, I mean, you don't have to multiply this fraction times this number and add 2. If you did, that's perfect. If you didn't, it's also okay. In the end, if you simplify this into decimals, I think this was 23.3 and this was 48.3, close to those numbers, something close to these two numbers, the width and the length. And that solves this problem. This one, we have two people, Luis and Kristen. And Luis begins to walk at a rate of 2 miles per hour. So let's draw a line in order to signify like a highway or a street or something on which Luis and Kristen will travel, right? It's always a good idea to draw something. So here's Luis and also Kristen. And Luis, the speed of Luis or the velocity of Luis, I'm gonna say speed. The speed of Luis is equal to 2 miles per hour, and he starts to walk. So he's gonna advance. Okay, that's okay. And then 30 minutes later, or 0.5 hours later, remember we have to make the conversion from minutes to hours because I already have hours here in this quantity, and um, I have to avoid mixing units. If I have minutes and hours, let's convert everything to hours or everything to minutes. I'm gonna convert these to hours. So 30 minutes after, or 0.5 hours after Luis leaves, his wife Christine realizes that Luis has forgotten his wallet. Christine gets on her bicycle and begins riding at a rate of 12 miles per hour. So that's the speed of Christine, 12 miles per hour. And that's it, right? So basically Luis started walking, and then later, half an hour later, Christine starts riding, and they will eventually meet. Okay, like that, like this. They're gonna be at the same position, which signifies that Christine catches up with Luis. And then they ask you two questions: how long will it take for Christine to catch Luis? Okay, so remember, what is speed? Speed is distance over time by definition, and therefore I can write the following two equations. One for Luis, the speed of Luis is equal to the distance traveled by Luis over the time traveled, or the time spent walking by Luis. And I can do the same or something similar for Kristen. The speed of Kristen is equal to the distance covered by Kristen over the time spent riding by Kristen. So we have this equation, this equation. I can already make some substitutions, which is these two. SL equals 2, SK equals 12, and I'm going to substitute it here. And forget about the units, they're not important at the moment. So I'm going to make that substitution. There you go. Let's continue over here. Okay, now, remember, what is the relationship between TL and TK? How do they relate, these two things? Can I write an equation that relates these two? Yes, and the equation is this. The time that Christine spends riding, in this case, is the same as the time that Luis spends traveling minus 0.5. Okay, this is the equation that relates these two quantities. Okay, and I'm gonna put it in here. Tk equals TL minus 0.5, and I'm gonna substitute that this in here. Okay, because that's Tk, right? I can do that. So I'm gonna write 2 equals dl over TL, and 12 equals dk over TL minus 0.5. Let's continue over here. I'm gonna isolate dl from this equation and dk from this equation, and you will get dl equals 2 times TL, and dk equals 12 times TL minus 0.5. Okay, and then realize that if we are supposing that Kristen catches Luis at some point, what that means is that the distance traveled by Luis and the distance traveled by Kristen are gonna be the same, and therefore I can make the equation. Therefore I can say that this will be equal to this, because this is equal to dl, this is equal to dk, and if they are supposed to be the same, then 2 times TL equals 12 times TL minus 0.5. If you arrived at this point, guys, if you wrote this equation, I should have marked this problem correctly. When you solve this equation, you will get, I can't remember, let me do that here quickly. You're gonna get 10TL equals 0.5, am I right? 12, yes. And then TL equals 0.5 over 10, and that's 0.05. Although I think I'm doing something wrong. Am I doing? Yeah, this is not the correct solution. You're gonna have 10TL being equal to 6, and then TL equals 6 over 10, which is 0.6. 0.6 hours. So they're gonna meet they're gonna meet 0.6 hours after Luis begins walking. And if you take as reference Kristen, then that would be the answer would be 0.1 hour. So whether you answer this taking into consideration Luis, the starting point of Luis, or this taking into consideration the time at which Kristen started writing, I should have marked either of these correctly. Either of these. Either of these. And then finally, basically all you have to do next is for solving this one, how far from their house will Kristen catch Luis? Well, take the time that Kristen spent writing, which is 0. Hours, and put it in here, right here, right here, okay? And then you will be getting DK, and that's gonna be quite clearly 1.2 miles. So these are the answers, guys. This is the answer for B, and either this or this is the answer for A. It depends on whether you talk. It depends on whether you consider the when Luis started going or Kristen. This one was very simple. The sum of two consecutive numbers is 37. So this is one number, and clearly this is its consecutive number, and the addition is 37. Write the algebraic equation used to solve this problem. It's this one. And B, write the solution of the problem. In other words, find those two numbers. Well, you have 2x plus 1 equals 37, and then 2x equals 36, and then x equals 18, and therefore the other number should be 19. So it's 18 and the other number is 19, and the addition is 37. If you didn't write this equation, guys, I gave you half a point because they're asking you explicitly to write the equation. This one, Andrew is 5 years older than his brother Charles. So Andrew is older than Charles. I'm gonna represent that by making these two variables in one larger than the other to represent that this guy is older. If x represents Andrew's age, okay, so basically instead of uh, if x represents Andrew's age, instead of writing this, I'm gonna write a big X because this represents Andrew's age, and I'm gonna represent Charles' age with a C. Write an expression for Charles's age in terms of x. Okay, so Charles will be equal to Andrew's age minus 5. Okay, because this guy is older than this one. B, write an equation specifying that the age of Charles is 38. So basically just this, right? 38 equals x minus 5. I just substitute. And C, solve the equation and find Andrew's age. In other words, solve for x. Quite clearly, it's going to be 43. Very simple problems, guys. "32. In each of the classrooms of a school, there are 3 girls for every 2 boys. So if I signify by a G and by a B the number of girls and the number of boys in the whole school, okay, G is the number of girls, B is the number of boys, then I know that first of all I know that G plus B must be 100, okay, and I also know that the ratio of girls to boys should be equal to it's 2/3. It's like this. No, I'm sorry. It's the same as 3/2. This. The ratio of girls to boys is the same as 3 over 2 because there are 3 girls for every 2 boys. And then basically just use these two equations in order to solve the problem. Let me isolate g from this equation. I'm gonna get g equals 3 halves times b, and again I'm gonna input this in here, and you're gonna have 3 3 halves of b plus b equals 100, and that means the following. So 100 over 5, that's 40. So the number of boys is 40 and the number of girls is clearly 60. So that in total they give me 100. And that's the full solution, guys.